Hello friends, family, other creatures of the sea, welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have in the top left as our Red Terran player playing for Team NV, it's Bunny. And in the bottom right as our Blue Zerg player playing for Guangdong Freaks, it's going to be soO. The name change always messes with me a little bit. Of course, it used to be the Afrika Freaks, now called the Guangdong Freaks, but I believe they're still sponsored by the company Afrika, which is the live streaming platform that mainly focuses on the Korean market. I believe Afrika also sponsors the GSL, which is why it's not streamed on Twitch, only on YouTube and Afrika TV. Now, one of the nice things on this mod that the players are currently playing on is that we can see their vision on the minimap here. So if you're wondering what that little red square is, or well, it's not really a square, we're looking rectangle, and the blue one, it's where the players are currently looking. So we can see that a couple of camera hotkeys have already been set up. We see Bunny actually set up 6 camera hotkeys to start with. soO is sending all of the overlords across the map as well. And soO is actually kind of calm initially with the camera. It's funny to see. So the first SCV is going to start scouting across the map. Reaper is on the way, command center gets built. And this SCV will figure out that it is indeed a hatchery first here coming out of soO. Now, with a hatchery first, it means that the early game is going to be relatively standard, depending, of course, on the follow-up. At least the first 2.5 to 3 minutes, nothing bad can happen to Bunny. Bunny will be aware of that, and the first Reaper does, will move across the map. This is important, as it allows him to scout with that Reaper to see if there's any type of follow-up. And that follow-up can be, it could be roaches from 2 bases, it could be a fast layer from 2 bases, but most likely it's just going to be a fast third here for soO. And as I say that, I realize the drone hasn't been sent out yet. Bunny is going to try and chase that drone right now. Ooh, even is going to block that extractor, and that is a big deal. Extractor once again is going to get blocked. The drone will get taken out. soO loses a drone, and the Reaper is not done yet. Queen's still a couple of seconds away from finishing up here. Lings are not around. Spore gets forced. Maybe a Ling will fall as well. Might just not end up being the case. Creep Tumor gets thrown down. Is Bunny trying to go for a jump here? No, wants to keep the Reaper healthy to try and potentially take out another drone that wants to take a third base. So we see the vision here is, ooh, he's just barely missing some vision. Realizes though what's about to happen. Drone will need to go for the line third base, which is the inferior base here for Zerg. Only by a little bit, but a lot of Zergs prefer taking this as the third base. It allows you to start pushing that creep up these ramps a bit earlier, which is just a lot harder if this is your fourth base. You have some powerful tank positions over here, some powerful tank positions over here, making it difficult to bust that type of spot with just pure Ling Bane Queen, which, let's face it, is going to be what soO will be heading for. Actually, it is Curious Minds. It is possible that we're looking at a roach build. There is speed already, but roaches technically are also viable on a map like Curious Mind. You have a massive type of concave that you can set up near the third base, and it is a build that we see here fairly often, the 1-1 roach push. Fast roach warren, double evo chambers, 1-1 upgrades, and then once roach speed and these upgrades kick in with 170, 180 supply, a bunch of Ravagers in the composition as well, we'll see the Zerg move out. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. I honestly doubt it, but it's always a possibility, of course. At the same time, we have Bunny opening up with a fast third command center into Hellion Banshee. So most likely going to go up to 8 Hellions here. That seems to be the standard number. Could also go up to a higher count. And then maybe throw down an armory. That is something that we don't see that often from triple CC openers. 10, 12 Hellions with those Banshees, but it's definitely a possibility that we need to keep in mind. And more importantly, it's a possibility that soO needs to keep in mind. Both players right now with their full attention on this general area, making sure that the Hellions don't die. soO wants to make sure that these Hellions are not capable of moving through. Queens are split in 2 groups as well, which makes it easier to stop these Hellions, but also means that each individual location is less properly defended, right? Initially, you have something that kind of deters these Hellions from moving through, because there's always damage output at either side, but it does mean that if the Hellions commit to a location, Lings need to be behind it to catch any potential drive-bys. Oh, and this is one of the issues here that we see. Hellion for a queen, that's a good trade for the Terran player. If you don't have all queens in one position, this type of stuff can happen. You can take damage over time on the queens, and because your damage output isn't big enough and you don't have enough queens to block any big commitment to a position out of the Terran, It is possible that you lose a queen here or there. Of course, it's a trade-off that Zerg works with. No overseer yet, which means that this general area is now a no-go zone for soO. Look at his 2 Banshees go. And the queens actually want to move forward to try and stop these Hellions from driving by, but it's just simply not possible. Overseer right now gets morphed right in the face of Bunny. That knows that Bunny has another 12 seconds right now, where he can just keep going ham on those queens. We already see, what is it, 5 queens going down here at the start. Hellions continue microing back as well. Link count is dwindling. Here comes the Overseer. One of the Banshees actually ran out of energy as well. But I think that final queen is also going to end up falling. These Links most likely will die. One Banshee ends up dying too. So it's going to be an absolute massacre with everything dying except the Links and a single Banshee still alive. 6 Hellions go down, 8 queens, 16 Links as well. Of course, 1 Banshee also fell. Now, 2 queens will come in and save the day. 66 workers for soO, so the worker count for soO is fantastic. But the queen count is a bit on the low side right now. We do have 3 more on the way, so we'll boost it up back to 6. Double Evo chambers being constructed. And honestly, the macro has been very solid out of soO here. Losing this many queens, usually indicating that injects are going to be difficult to continuously execute. It usually is quite tricky to spend your money continuously, but by having a constant stream in of queens and drones, soO managed to spend that money really without any major issues. Bailing speed is on the way. He did kind of, well, it wasn't really a lair rush because the Overseer wasn't in time for the Banshees, but it was a relatively fast lair before Evo chambers, before any upgrades. And as a result, bailing speed might finish up in the next 15 seconds or so. Not quite fast enough for the initial push, but once combat shield finishes up, bailing speed will be here for sure. Until then, these queens will need to fight as hard as they can. Ooh, so's going to get caught out of position a little bit here as these Marines head in towards the main base. I do believe that soO is aware of that, sending over a lot of Links, but Marines have already dropped 1 queen, might get sniped. Yep, definitely going to get sniped. Combat shield finishing up in 7 seconds from now, but bailing speed is here already. This position I was talking about now will start being tricky, not just for tank positions, but also for creep denial. Getting up ramps is really difficult for Zerg often. And once Terran is on top of a ramp, it becomes even more difficult to break it. So it's important that a couple of layers of creep tumors get sent up here. So you kind of want it to be over here. It makes it difficult to push it back all the way and just siege up this position. I love the way that soO is playing this. Wouldn't mind him trying to grab this topside watchtower or setting up a potential run-by towards the 3rd base. Curious Minds is often a map where run-bys decide the mid-game, if it ever goes in favor of the Zerg. There's no real other way for Zerg to really do anything usually in this stage of the game, unless of course they play roaches, but that's a completely different scenario than what we're watching currently. Queen gets taken out, couple of drones also fall, these Links will get blasted too. 1-1 upgrades have already finished up for Bunny, while soO is currently still on 0-0. 77 workers, so the worker count is solid, but no 5th base means we're not going to have optimal saturation. Those upgrades are just a little bit later than the opponents. And also, I actually believe that Bunny, with the movement he's been going for, is now catching soO relatively off guard. This drop in the main base is most likely going to get, well, it's not going to get stopped actually. Spawning pool is going to get taken out. At the same time, a lot of creep tumors, these very important high ground creep tumors, are going to get taken out. One of them stays alive, but no, another scan will make short work of that. That means that these tanks can now siege up, and if the creep does not get respread, this 5th base is not capable of ever being built. Fort for Bunny is already landing, already turning into a planetary actually. And we see that Bunny just right now, slowly but surely, starting to siege forward. Once the creep disappears, you'll have complete control of this ramp. There's still a little bit of creep left. That's perhaps the final opportunity that soO has to truly break this right now. Tanks setting up in solid positions, far away from the ramp, enough to control the ramp, but not to give easy access to queens from the low ground or hydras from the low ground. So 1 in the far front to put some pressure on this base, and then 2 in the further back. Mines on the left side, stopping that flank from doing very much. This is a very big attack out of soO, but I think off creep it is simply not possible. I think a Lingbane run-by towards the 3rd base would have been preferable. We see more reinforcements coming in here with the left side flank as well. This is completely off of creep. No more Banelings are available. Links all got taken out as well. Queen count still at 4, couple of transfuses here. but I think this is just simply too much bio. Mines will take out these overseers as well. Hydras are all that remains, and without any major Bane reinforcements, I just don't think this can be broken. Marauders, of course, great at tanking as well. Will micro this back a tiny tad, trying to get back towards that ramp area. Another mine shows up, gets burrowed, unburrows when it sees that, hey, I think I can get a better shot in the near future. Don't want to waste it on 2 links. Here we go. Well, actually, it's going to waste it on two links anyway. Does get 3 kills. Once again, a slightly off-creep fight here. Mines dealing more damage, splashing on these Hydras, splashing on these Queens. +2 about to finish up, and that is going to really hurt as well here for soO. Bunny, 173 supply against 130 out of the Korean Zerg player. Another tank shows up, and with that tank, oh, beautiful retargets there on the mines. Did you see that? Some beautiful stuff here. Bunny's been playing fantastic against Zerg recently. Absolutely fabulous gameplay lately. He's going to burrow these mines. GG gets called by soO as Bunny wins game number 1. And just like that, we arrive in game 2. And game 2 is being played here on Glittering Ashes, as we see soO opening up with a... Well, what is this? This is not a scout, is it? This is a proxy hatch, I think. We see no extra overlord being built yet. So a 14 hatchery is relatively quick. It's pretty far away as well. We'll have to wait and see how Bunny is going to respond to this. If he actually ends up scouting that, of course. There is a decent possibility that Bunny decides to not scout. Glittering Ashes is one of these maps that is slightly Zerg favored. It's a larger map, and often on maps that are favored for the other race, the race that is disadvantaged will take some minor risk in the early game or in the mid game to try and kind of, you know, make up for that natural disadvantage of how crappy the map is. So there is definitely a possibility here that Bunny will skip the scout. There's also a possibility that he'll go for the scout again because he feels so comfortable in this matchup. He's been showing good games in this matchup. He actually managed to take out soO as well in the GSL Group B, of course, with a 2-0 score. Bunny advancing in first place there. Double gas is on the way. Pool workers going to get sent across the map. This is a very important scout. We'll see a Roach Warren as a follow-up. We have double gases. It's going to be a triple-ish Ravager push, I guess, initially. This is extremely all-in. There's different types of proxy hatcheries, and this is a proxy hatchery build that just cannot really transition out of this. You need to kill your opponent here. That is just a fact, and there's really nothing you can do about that. First 2 links are going to be popped out right now, and I mean, they will not be capable of achieving very much here, except maybe try and deny that SCV. SCV did not actually scout the hatchery location, though. Okay. Reaper's going to scout it. That's scary, because you might just see these 2 links and think it's a regular pool first. But this is a proxy hatch. It's very different, and the response is also very different. We're going to see a high ground bunker being built in the wall. CC on the way. This will not finish up, I think. 18 seconds away from finishing. These roaches are 4 or 5 seconds away. The walk over here is another, 7-8 seconds. Perhaps with a good Reaper grenade, you can actually... Oh! He's morphing the Ravagers. Command Center is going to finish because of that. Second bunker as well on the way here. I think Bunny is aware that this is a very all-in type of variation. This is not your regular good old proxy hatch into a hatchery at home. No, this is double gas, my friends. This is serious stuff. Couple of bells raining down already as the SCVs move in to try and repair this depot. And, well, depot is going to fall. Bunker's going to take some serious damage as well. We see the shift of attention here out of these Ravagers. 4 Ravagers all not in range of that bunker. Second depot's going to get taken out. That means, oh no! Supply block. 28 out of 30 right now. Needs to sacrifice something. Not quite sure what happened there, but I think something got cancelled for a second. Now the Cyclone is building. There's 4 Ravagers, not enough, of course, to one-shot that bunker. We're going to require more Ravagers for that. I believe you need 6 Ravagers to one-shot a bunker, if I recall correctly. Of course, not a Zerg specialist or a Terran specialist. We do have 5 Ravagers out already, with the first Cyclone on the way as well. Viking coming in too. And the Viking actually has a very vital role here. It allows you to 100% kill this Overlord and deny any type of vision. Okay, here we're going to go for the break. Single shot. at the same time as all of these things hitting. Oh my god, Bunker is not going to go down quite yet. Bunker will stay alive. First Ravager goes down. Second Ravager will fall soon as well. Good target fire. Roach is getting taken out as well. SCV still repairing. GG gets called. soO realizes there is no way. He had a massive timer on him and tried to kill his opponent before the timer ran out. Did not work. Bunny keeps the Bunker alive. Even had a second Bunker for a backup, by the way. Let's not forget about that. Bunny was completely fine. Perfect response here out of the Terran. And the score is 2-0. Game number 3 will be played on Burlingrad as we see another rather cheesy opener out of soO. So that's the second time in a row right now. Last game did not work out. This time it might be different though. And this is of course less committed as well. It's just a regular pool first. It's going to be command center first against pool first. A scenario that many people have spoken about in the past and always, well, usually giving the advantage to the Terran here. And there's a fairly simple mechanic at work that we can actually discuss. And that is that the pool first's entire purpose is to try and delay a command center. The pool first has no other purpose, except in some scenarios you can throw down a roach and follow it up with roaches. In that case, the links also have the purpose of basically distracting the Reaper from scouting or getting that scouting information. In this case, that doesn't quite seem to be the case. There's no... Ooh, never mind. There's a roach on the way. Okay, so maybe then it's still viable. Let me just continue what I'm trying to say though. Usually the goal of these 6 links is to deny the command center from finishing building. But because this CC is so darn fast, you cannot actually deny that. And because often the factory gets used as a tool to fully wall with, you also cannot walk up. And that means that there's going to be a low ground command center that can even turn into an orbital without any real issues. And at the same time, Bunny has a solid economy, he's gonna get his stack eventually as well, opens this up with a Reaper, the SCV is not gonna go in, does not know right now that there is a Roach Warren on the way, but does start with a Reaper. The question is going to be, will he head in for a full wall with a factory? Are we going to see a bunker on the low ground? Like, what's at play here? What's going to be happening? It's actually going to be factory not in the wall, so the Reaper will finish soon, and I guess soO isn't quite aware that this was a CC first. SCV is moving around, trying to scout if there's roaches coming up here, or what is kicking off. Links are barely going to miss it. Correct timing to patrol your worker, I believe, is 2:45, at least the timing that I'm aware of. That's when the roaches are supposed to move out. It seems like Bunny's early game knowledge, by the way, is crazy. Like, the timings, everything is perfect. Like, really, just perfect. His decision making, throws down a bunker on the high ground, 2 bunkers once again on the high ground. This is really impressive to see. Just complete control of the early game, complete knowledge of the early game, and I mean, yeah, I just don't really see what soO is going to do here. He's down 10 workers at this point. Should not be capable of killing any workers. Going to let the links in. I think this was on purpose. I think Bunny is fine with this. Says, hey, I'm going to kill 6 links here, and you kill a single worker. Surely that's not worth it for you. The bunkers are now occupied. We can see a Cyclone starting. There's only a single Ravager this time around. Now, the one annoying thing is that this bunker actually is blocking the depot repair. So this depot is going to end up falling. That is rather unfortunate. This bunker is also doing that to a certain extent. Second Ravager on the way, but the first Cyclone is almost done already. We'll see a reactor starting soon here. We now see a lift on the barracks, allowing this depot to be repaired. Can we get a pull off on this worker? No, 2 workers do end up falling. That's the first major error that Bunny made. Losing 2 workers like that is quite expensive. We see another bile. This time is not going to hit, but is hitting both the depot as well as the bunker. Here comes the Cyclone. We'll start pushing away this Overlord, and we quickly see the vision of the high ground dwindling. And without vision of the high ground, there is nothing that the Zerg can do, because you can't walk up the high ground here if there's 2 bunkers there. A couple more biles are going to rain down on top of that depot. So we see a lock-on onto that Roach. It's not quite going to go down, though. Banshee has a follow-up, or a Raven, but Raven would make no sense, so it's going to be a Banshee. Yep, Banshee with Cloak. We immediately see a third command center. Bunny's understanding of this matchup. Look at his SCV, by the way. This guy's a king. Look at this. I see everything. I know it all. Gets blasted by the Ravager. Fantastic scouting. Phenomenal, really. Seen everything with that SCV. Saw the Roach move out, saw the initial pull first, and now confirms the fact that there is a third base. This is a dream scenario here for Bunny. It's slightly supply blocked, which is frustrating, but that first Banshee is going to put in some real work. Banshee allows for 2 things. First of all, it will allow for potential damage to a worker line, might force out spores. And because layer is going to be most likely delayed, Oh, it also provides safety, by the way, against any potential follow-up approach attacks. But if the layer is delayed, it could, similar to in that first game, what we saw on Curious Minds, you can kind of cross off an area where the Zerg can't go. It's like, hey, this is a no-go zone for you because I have Banshees with Cloak. You don't have a Spore there, and you don't have an Overseer there. That just simply means that you can force the army to split to a direction. So either you need to move to the third or to the next one, and the rest of your army can attack where that army isn't. If that army wants to help the other side, it needs to walk through Banshee fire, and Banshee's DPS is actually fairly decent. Once again, Spore is going to be a little bit too late. That means this Banshee is going to get 4 to 5 kills here, most likely. Actually, if these drones aren't being moved, we're going to get more than 4 to 5 kills. Already have 4 right now, and we're going to move up to, 5. Seeing 6 perhaps here. It's just like a 7 to 8 kill type of deal even here. Oh, he's going to lose the Banshee though. Sloppy control here out of Bunny. Probably because he's also trying to defend this at home. But there's 2 tanks out already. There's a Cyclone on the high ground. There's a Banshee as well. Oh my god, this is getting blasted. Bunny with the reads, with the plays, with the control is doing everything correct there. And yeah, GG gets caught. Bunny wins the series 3-0 in a very quick best of 5. I think that's 18 minutes total or so. It's been a complete domination. Fantastic series. Really just textbook Terran versus Zerg. Good responses to early game shenanigans and saying, okay, like you can check me all you want with these cheesy strategies, but I know what to do against them. I just know the correct responses and they won't work. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this series. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much. And bye-bye.